Hi, it's Katrina. Some of history's biggest creatures come in small packages in the form of seemingly uneventful fossil discoveries. Others, on the other hand, display their importance through sheer size. From ginormous birds to the largest skeletons ever, here are 9 of the biggest fossil finds in the world. Number 9. Scotty. Earlier this year, paleontologists in Canada announced the discovery of the largest ever Tyrannosaurus rex fossil, nicknamed Scotty. They'd found the skeleton back in 1991, but it took them decades to excavate and prepare the bones, which were embedded in extremely hard sandstone. Despite the dinosaur's masculine name, experts are unsure whether Scotty was male or female. The massive creature was 42.6 feet long and weighed over 9.7 tons. It died in what is now the Saskatchewan province around 66 million years ago at age 28 or older, making it the oldest known of its kind. Scotty's life was long but violent. The skeleton bears evidence of several healed injuries, including broken ribs, a tail bite, likely from another T-Rex, and an infected jaw. The discovery reminds us that there are several ways of measuring dinosaurs' proportions. Some people and scholars dispute the validity of Scotty's record as the biggest T-Rex, and their claims are not without merit, especially in an era where clickbait rules largely over the facts. While Scotty is certainly on the other end of the T-Rex spectrum, it wasn't the longest of its kind. Plus, many T-Rex skeletons are partial, thus making it difficult to measure the creature's true dimensions during their time here on Earth. Regardless, Scotty is impressive in its own right, whether by size alone or by its lengthy lifespan of roughly 3 decades, in an era where most T-Rexes didn't survive past their first year. Number 8. Heracles Inexpectatus. In 2008, researchers unearthed the fossilized leg bones of what's believed to be the largest known parrot to ever exist. They excavated the bones in St. Bathans, New Zealand, a former mining town that sits atop an extinct lake, and announced the discovery this year. The gargantuan flightless bird stood 3 feet tall and weighed around 15 pounds when it died and sunk to the lake's bottom sometime between 16 and 19 million years ago. There are 350 parrot species in existence today, the largest of them being the kapopo, a flightless bird that is also native to New Zealand. Heracles Inexpectatus, as the fossilized bird was named, was even bigger. Based on its size alone, paleontologists concluded that the massive parrot probably ate whatever it wanted, including other parrots. This was the first time anyone found an extinct giant parrot anywhere in the world, according to study co-author and Flinders University professor Trevor Worthy. Its record-breaking size was merely a bonus. Number 7. Biggest Denisovan fossil. About a decade ago, scientists discovered teeth and bone fragments belonging to a mysterious ancient hominin group known as the Denisovans in a Siberian cave. DNA evidence revealed that the Denisovans were a sister group to the Neanderthals, sharing a common ancestor that diverged from modern humans between 550 and 765,000 years ago. An entire lower jawbone belonging to a Denisovan was found on the Tibetan Plateau in China's Beixia Karst cave. Ironically, it was uncovered long before the bone fragments and teeth in Siberia. A monk discovered the bone in 1980, but researchers only began studying it in 2010. The jawbone, which contains 2 teeth, dates back 160,000 years and indicates that the Denisovans were more widespread than previously thought. Researchers identified the bone based on dentine collagen proteins, a relatively new technology that is being used in the absence of DNA evidence. The bone was discovered 10,761 feet above sea level. It is astonishing that any ancient humans were at that altitude, said paleoanthropologist Chris Stringer. This finding lends credibility to the scientific notion that Tibetans are genetically adapted to living at high altitudes thanks to ancient Denisovan DNA. The prevailing theory holds that when humans arrived in the area between 30,000 and 40,000 years ago, they interbred with Denisovans, who passed on their ability to comfortably survive thousands of feet above sea level. Number 6. Maximo. In 2012, a ranch worker unsuspectingly discovered the largest ever dinosaur remains in Patagonia, Argentina. There were over 200 fossils at the site belonging to 6 massive sauropods, or long-necked dinosaurs. Maximo was the largest dinosaur among the remains to ever be discovered, measuring 28 feet tall and 122 feet long. He weighed at least 70 tons, the equivalent of 10 African elephants. These dinosaurs, including Maximo, weren't fully grown. meaning that there are even bigger dinosaurs out there to discover, according to paleontologist Christina Curry-Rogers. Researchers named the newly discovered species Patagotitan majorum after the Mayo family, who owned the ranch and alerted them to the remains. P. majorum was an herbivore that lived in the region over 100 million years ago during the Cretaceous period. At the time, the planet's climate was rapidly warming and plant life was diversifying, possibly enabling the species' epic proportions. Number 5. Super Ostrich. A 2018 treasure trove of ancient bones in Crimea's Taurida cave led scientists to the discovery of an ancient 12-foot-tall superbird. Inside the cave was a large avian femur bone, which scientists compared to other ostrich-like birds. They classified the creature not just as a distinct species, but also within its own genus, Pachystruthio. It was the biggest European bird of its type by far, and one of the world's largest, superseded only by 2 elephant bird species from Madagascar. The nearly 12-foot-tall, 990-pound flightless bird was 3 times the size of its closest living relative, the ostrich. While it wasn't a fast runner, Pachystruthio likely deterred smaller predators based on its sheer size. Evidence suggests that it first appeared between 2.6 and 5.3 million years ago, and that it survived long enough to live alongside early humans. Pachystruthio also shared the environment with other intimidating predators of the time, including saber-toothed cats, giant hyenas, and giant cheetahs. Number 4. Record-breaking Plesiosaur. Scientists discovered the remains of a colossal elasmosaurid or long-necked plesiosaur in Antarctica in 1989, but didn't announce the discovery until this year, 3 decades later. The gigantic creature was preserved in extremely hard rock, requiring researchers to make 3 return trips to complete the excavation. Not to mention, Antarctica doesn't exactly offer the most hospitable climate for digging up fossils. In 2017, the team finally completed their mission. The flippered marine creature was as long as a telephone pole, measuring 36 feet from snout to tail. When it was alive, it weighed nearly 15 tons. It's the largest and heaviest known elasmosaurid on record. The plesiosaur lived around 30,000 years before the massive extinction that killed the dinosaurs around 66 million years ago, according to geological evidence. Scientists are unsure whether the fossilized remains constitute a new species because they don't overlap with other known specimens and are therefore difficult to compare. Number 3. Ancient Warg. Until recently, some fossils that were discovered during the 1980s were sitting at the National Museum of Kenya, where little attention was paid to them. Scientists took a closer look at the fossils and realized that they belonged to one of the largest carnivores ever to roam the planet. The fearsome predator was 8 feet long and weighed as much as 3,300 pounds, with a head the size of a rhino and flesh-ripping teeth measuring up to 7.9 inches each. It lurked among the African plains from 62 million to 9 million years ago and was bigger than the polar bear, the largest modern land carnivore. This creature, which was neither a hyena, cat, wolf, nor bear, but perhaps best resembles J.R.R. Tolkien's fictional Warg, was not built for long runs. Rather, it was an ambush predator that attacked its prey out of nowhere. Researchers named the creature Simbakuba Kutokafrika, which means big lion from Africa in Swahili, although this terminology is definitely an understatement, as it was much bigger than a modern lion, and the only trait the two arguably share is that of being an apex predator who more or less rules over their environment. Number 2. Human-sized penguin. Over the summer, an amateur scientist on New Zealand's South Island discovered a new species of penguin that was as big as a modern human. Paleontologist Leigh Love identified the prehistoric oversized bird named Crossvalia weiparensis through its fossilized femur bones. It was around 16 inches taller and up to 4 times heavier than the emperor penguin, the largest living penguin species. C. weiparensis is the 5th ancient penguin species discovered at the site. Based on its bones, scientists think its feet may have played a more important role in swimming than they do in today's penguins. It further reinforces our theory that penguins attained a giant size very early in their evolution, Dr. Vanessa De Pietri, a curator at Canterbury Museum in Christchurch, said of the magnificent find. The discovery of related penguin species in Antarctica and New Zealand suggests a connection between continents that were once attached in the eyes of Canterbury Museum senior curator Dr. Paul Schofield. In his words, when the Crossvalia species were alive, New Zealand and Antarctica were very different from today. Antarctica was covered in forest and both had much warmer climates. Besides all that, I mean, just imagine a human-sized penguin for a second. Number 1. Gigantic flying reptile. Paleontologists in Alberta, Canada recently identified a previously unknown species of Azhdarchid, or giant flying reptile, while sorting through a collection of pterosaur fossils. The remains were first discovered around 30 years ago, once again, but the scientists assumed they belonged to a different Cretaceous giant until they were re-examined earlier this year. They named the new flying reptile Cryodraken boreas, meaning cold dragon of the north winds. Sounds like Game of Thrones. It lived in Western Canada around 77 million years ago and would have seemed more like a small airplane flying overhead than a living animal, boasting a wingspan of at least 16 feet and up to 32 feet across. The creature weighed over 550 pounds, suggesting it was heavier and more sturdily built than other large flying reptiles at the time. The animal, when alive, would not have been a frozen dragon, paleontologist Mike Habib of the University of Southern California explained to National Geographic, noting that the creature would have existed in a much milder climate than modern-day central Alberta offers. Pterosaur fossils are scarce, and Azhdarchid remains are even harder to come by, despite their suspected existence throughout the world, making this discovery especially important. Thanks for watching! Which one was your favorite? What other prehistoric creatures would you like to learn about? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. See you later, alligator! Bye!